Hi, good afternoon, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, and a great day to every one of you. So, welcome to APU Postgraduate webinars today. I'm Jace, and I will be the host for these sections. The topic of this section will be Design Innovation Management, Relevance, and Resilient Post-Pandemic. As Malaysia currently is in a transitioning to an endemic, and everyone in the world actually starting for a new track and a new plan. So you might thinking whether further studies is something that you might want to consider for your new plan, or any program that you should consider when you're planning for your further studies. So should it be design innovation management? So let's not waste our time more, and we welcome our speaker of the day, Mr. Izzuan Ottoman from our School of Media, Art and Design to give you in depth of this subject. So Mr. Izzuan, so over to you. Yeah.
Hi, how are you all?
Hi,
Hi, good
afternoon.
afternoon. Good afternoon, Jace, as well, and good afternoon to everyone that is watching this live feed or this webinar. I will be talking a bit about, again, I've been introduced as Mr. Izwan. I am from the School of Media, Art and Design. And at this particular moment, I am teaching mostly, you know, at areas of design innovation as well as design thinking. Right. As mentioned by Jace, I would not waste more time during this session, but I would just like to start off by saying that we are already moving away from the pandemic phase of the COVID, and we are now into the endemic phase, right? We all understand that there was a huge impact on businesses as well as on companies, services that was really affected by the COVID and the pandemic. So as we talking about today is basically how design innovation management, right, could be something that is relevant as well as could be something that can make us resilient, yeah, towards post-pandemic. I've got people asking me why don't you just say post-COVID, right? My belief is that we want to talk about more towards anything that is post-pandemic. All right. Previously, we had the Spanish flu pandemic, right? And then now, we had the COVID pandemic. I am not looking at whether this is going to happen again, another pandemic is going to happen again. But why I say post pandemic, design innovation management should be used to overcome any pandemic. There might be some other pandemic after COVID, right? And it is something that we should not take for granted. We should be prepared for anything else that resembles something like COVID, so that we are going to be ready, that we are going to take steps, all right, to make sure that we are going to be relevant again in the future, as well as our businesses can be resilient, all right? So if Jace can help me, I would like my slides to be brought up so that I can start with the webinar, all right? Okay. Um, again, like I mentioned earlier, we're talking about design innovation management, right? And a lot of people keep asking me, what is design innovation management? Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that when you talk about design innovation management, it's all about design, interior design or graphic design or product design or industrial design. When we talk about design innovation management, we are coming up with processes, right? We design the processes, okay, through innovation and through creativity to manage what we have, okay? That's why I say relevance and resilience post pandemic. So whatever that you do after this recent pandemic that we went through, right? When we talk about design innovation management, it is not necessarily mean that you have to be a graphic designer or industrial designer, right? Design innovation means that you are using the process, an innovative process. You are designing innovative process to manage whatever that you have. Okay. Now, as we now emerge, right, from the pandemic and moving into the endemic phase, a lot of organizations, yeah, are set to make a comeback, albeit at a smaller size and scale. We need to acknowledge, yeah, that the impact of the pandemic really, really shaped organizations and management. Okay, so we have to know that it meant a lot, right? Or it changed a lot in our lives, in our organizations and management. And now we should strive to pursue a more flexible and innovative approach, right, to management. Okay. This is where design innovation management concepts will become crucial, right? Instruments to help organizations become more relevant and resilient post pandemic. Okay. Um, Before I move on into talking a bit more detail into some of the areas of design innovative or design innovation management, let's look at some of the most innovative companies in 2021, right, before the pandemic. Okay. Now, we actually had the pandemic in 2019, right? And it only went full blown in 2020. Okay. What happened was during that period of the pandemic, okay, there were still companies that were innovative in 2021, right? Now, most of these companies are the tech and consumer and services business, right? Walmart, right, have implemented the next day delivery to more than 75% of the US population. So Walmart, when everything was shut down under the pandemic, okay, they started to come out with an innovative way to come out with this next day delivery, because most of the people were stuck in their homes and couldn't move, right? So this was something that was quite innovative in a way that Walmart quickly realized that it had, right, to move from its current way of business, which is customers coming into the shops. Okay, now they had to be innovative and they had to be flexible. They had to move out now. They had to send things to the customers. Okay, again, like Huawei invested about 19 billion investment in their R&D in 2019. Okay, the investment paid off, as in 20 sorry, in 2019, Huawei sold more smartphones than their competitors. So we are looking at companies, big companies, okay, that was most innovative companies in 2020 because they had a very flexible, right? Um, Way of doing business, way of their organizing their management. Okay, of course, right? The last 2 years had been rife with pandemic-induced changes. Okay, that have shifted corporate priorities, and yet innovation has remained a top concern among corporations worldwide. Okay, now, innovation, why is it important? Is the fact that innovation is critical to business survival. To be successful, companies must prioritize innovation. You have to put innovation in front, all right? We cannot work with the way that we have worked before, okay? We have to move on ahead and prioritize innovation, okay? Then, once we have prioritized innovation, we have to support. We have to put support into that innovation through funds and talent. Now, when you talk about through funds and talents, okay, we have to put in money, all right, to support the innovation. Plus, we also need to find talent to understand what innovation is all about, what design innovation management is all about. And then, once we have our support, once we have our talent, all right, we can transform, right? Investments into results. Yeah. So it is very important that companies or organizations, all right, or services, in fact, to look at prioritizing innovation, then support that innovation, plus adding in talent, so that there are people who understand how this innovation is going to move, how this innovation is going to be managed, right? And then transform that investments into results. Okay. Now, Boston Consultant Group, right, surveyed over 1,500 innovation executives to rank the top 50 most innovative companies of 2021 based on four variables. Yeah, the first variable was global mindshare. Right? Global mindshare means that based on votes from all innovative executives. So what happens is that it's not just focused in one locality. It had to go global. So uh, these votes came in from all innovative executives throughout the whole world, rather than just one area, either America or Europe. They went through global, globally. Yeah. Then industry peer review based on votes from executive within a company's industry. So we had peer review, Boston Consulting Group, or BCG, right? Had peer review among executives within a company's industry, and then they went through four variables. The next one would be industry disruption, okay, a diversity index that measured votes across industries. And the last one was value creation, total share returns. So all this was done by Boston Consulting Group, right, to find out the top 50 most innovative companies in 2021. Now, for the second year in a row, um, Apple claims the top spot on this list. Okay, Apple was the first top 50, number one. Okay, claims the top spot. But um, one company that worth touching on is Pfizer. All right, this Pfizer, right, returning from previous years that ranked 10th in this year's ranking. Okay, it's no surprise that Pfizer made the list, right? Considering its instrumental role in the fight against COVID-19. But if you come to think about the business that Pfizer is in, actually, okay, Pfizer actually produces vaccines. Yeah, right. Now, in partnership with BioNTech, right, Pfizer produced a COVID-19 vaccine in less than a year. Okay, this is impressive considering that historically, right, vaccine development could take up a decade to complete. Okay, so if we were to look at pre COVID, right, we do still have the production of vaccines. Okay, but the production of vaccines pre COVID, they actually take decades, maybe 10 years, 7 to 10 years to actually produce, right, vaccines to be used in the medical world. But due to COVID, right, Pfizer had to produce, right, a vaccine within a year. Now, after the system, right, the way that management runs, maybe in Pfizer, okay, is that they had to be flexible. Now we had this pandemic coming. Pfizer was telling themselves, all right, we need to produce these vaccines quickly. So they had to be flexible. They had to find innovative ways, right? They had to design innovative processes in order for them to come up with this vaccine within 1 year, right? Now, they had to have an innovative process and management system that helped them to produce those vaccines in a short period of time. Okay? Now, while we often think of R&D and innovation as being synonymous, right, the former is just one innovation technique that help companies earn a spot on the list. Now, other companies, right, have innovated in different ways, like streamlining process to increase efficiency. Streamlining process means that rather than go through 5 or 6 processes, they streamline it and then just go through 3 processes in order to come to the final outcome. Right? Now, most important thing is innovation creates value. All right. Now, as the ranking indicates, yeah, innovation comes in many forms. But while there is no one size fits all approach, there is one fairly consistent innovation trend: the link between innovation and value. So there is a huge, a big link between innovation and value, right? So if you adopt innovative ideas, innovative processes, design processes in your management, right? It will create value for your organization or for your company. Okay. Now, in fact, according to historical data from BCG, the Boston Consulting Group, the correlation, right, between value and innovation has grown even stronger over the last 2 decades. Right, it's grown stronger. Huh? No. So now, when we move on, we talk about how there is a relationship between innovation and value. Okay, and when we have organizations, we have companies or services, right? These are part of business, all right? And we have to move away from the conventional way of thinking about managing a business now, right? We have to add in innovation, right, and creativity, okay, into how we run our businesses, right? So that's why innovation is vital for business success. How is it vital for business success? Okay, let's have a look. Okay, right now, as organizations are becoming more digital, yeah, their reliance on IT is unwaveringly increasing. Okay, customers' wants and needs are changing, and companies need technological processes to meet the new requests. Okay, when we move, right, from normalcy, right, pre-COVID, okay, and now when we experience, right, the lockdown during COVID, and now we are moving away, we are moving towards the endemic phase, right, of COVID. Okay, we realize that customers' wants and needs changed. Before, there was a different request, there were different needs. During the lockdown, there were different needs. After the lockdown, there were different needs. This is where, when we have an innovative approach, right, to management, we can quickly, right, adapt to that situation that we will be facing when each section or each segment of this process of pre-pandemic, pandemic, and endemic, right? We can quickly adopt into that areas. Okay. Now, companies need technological processes, okay, to meet the new requests. So now, based on experience, what worked during the pandemic, it doesn't seem to be working now in the endemic stage. Okay, deliveries, right, during the endemic stage, during the pandemic stage, right, deliveries were very high. A lot of people wanted deliveries because nobody could move out the house, right? But now the endemic phase, everyone is now allowed, right? Uh, to go and dine in, to go back shopping. They can go shopping, they can go out to restaurants and eat, and delivery requests dropped. Okay, there must be something to be done now, all right, to be flexible, to accept again, right? So this was something that people actually experienced, right, during these three phases that we went through. Okay, now issues like the pandemic only emphasize the importance of technology, which is defined as the spine of present business success. So whatever we have, we've always been dependent on technology, right? We've always talked about how we need technology to move forward. Now, we need to also talk about how we can use technology in innovative ways, all right, to present business success. Right? The pandemic had a negative impact on the global GDPs of countries, right? But embracing innovations and thinking strategically, right, can help businesses move forward. Right? We have to move forward. We can't stay at where we are now. In order for us to survive, we have to move forward. We understand. We understood the fact that a lot of changes, right, happened during the pandemic. People were out of jobs. Companies actually had to close down, right, just because of the pandemic. But this is the time now. Actually, we have to change the way we think, right, about starting up companies again, and starting about running or managing companies again. We have to be flexible, and we have to look at innovation. Right now, adopting innovation can greatly influence economic and psychological dimensions. Yeah, and encourage business managers to look forward to analyzing what solutions, yeah, can meet the changing demands on the markets that they operate. The market is big, right? So many industries, so many organizations, so many services, so many products, right? As we move towards the endemic phase, yeah, what happens is the fact that there are still people now starting again. They want to start. But if they were to start and still use the same old school style thinking of, managing that business, maybe it will work. But what we have experienced is the fact that it was quite difficult for people to move ahead faster. All right. Now with innovation, all right, we can find ways. We can find ways to start that business again and move it forward faster. You can earn more, right, or earn faster compared to when you start again without putting in any innovative, right, or design innovation management processes. Yeah. Now, corporate innovative trends, trends companies should consider. Now, these are some of the trends. Right. We are not saying that this trend is foolproof, okay, or it is etched in stone. Right. It is something that we've looked at. We've done design innovation management programs. Okay. We've had topics or modules that we execute, all right, to run design innovation management programs. So we have found, right, these are some of the innovative trends that companies should consider. Okay. Now, the first one is intelligent composable business. What do we mean by intelligent composable business? Now, prior to 2020, companies built their operations on efficiency, how to be efficient, right? Which became fragile the moment the market required flexibility, right? An example is that we talked about efficiency, meaning that we have to transport or we have to deliver this within 2 days. Okay. Now, that was a time when there were no border controls, there were no limitations in cross country uh, movements of goods, right? Because there was no COVID. But the moment, right, COVID was, came into our lives, so to say, um, everything changed, right? there were no people to actually work in the distribution centers to distribute these products or distribute these deliveries, right? And it did not meet, because it was based on efficiency. I have to get the product here now today, distribution center, and then it's out of the warehouse and into the hands of the receiver. But there was no one to work that distribution centers because of COVID, right? The lockdowns and things like that. So efficiency became very fragile, right? Now it needed flexibility. In the future, companies need to prepare for multiple scenarios to support flexibility. So this is where we talk about intelligent composable business. We can move, right? That business can basically move, right? We can change. We are flexible in a way that we can adopt different processes. We can adopt different solutions, right, to meet requirements. Okay. Now, intelligent composable business has been promoted, as the future of business because it's a natural acceleration of the internet-based business that functions at present. We already have the internet-based business, all right? We are talking about people now, not specifically having to only concentrate on the brick and mortar type of businesses where you actually have to have a physical shop, right? People has gone internet. A lot of people are starting businesses internet based, right? So they have to have some ideas of innovative ideas in management that in managing whatever they started a business. Yeah. Now it implies companies structuring their business around interchangeable building blocks. They can easily rearrange according to their needs. So that means it's not fixed anymore, right? Intelligent composable business means that you have building blocks where, okay, from this type of business, we are going to shift to this type of business, but within the same industry, right? From retail, from whatever that we have, brick and mortar, like I mentioned earlier, right? From a physical shop, we move them online. Okay, so we've cut down on overheads, we've cut down on stuffing and things like that, but we can still move that business because we have moved, we are flexible, we have rearranged, right, to now go online. Okay, these are some of the innovative ideas, right? Now, even going online doesn't necessarily mean that it's so easy, right? You still need to have an innovative management system, right? You have to design an innovative management system to actually run it online. Okay. Now, everyone knows. Okay. We talk about the next trend of business, right? It's Internet of Behavior. Now, everyone knows how the Internet of Things functions, right? And how companies use user data to gain insight, right, into their customers' preferences and behaviors. Now, the Internet of Behavior provides organizations with specific behavioral information that can redefine companies' value chain and streamline the user experience. Now, everything is based on algorithms now. Okay, whatever that you search, right, online, that data, right, is kept. That data is extracted, and that data is actually analyzed. And then the next time, right, when you do something, there is always going to be something that encourages you to buy or to purchase something that you actually searched earlier, right? Specifically, maybe you went online to search for a pair of shoes, okay, a pair of sport shoes. And then the next time you go online again, you'll be prompted by advertisements, right? And then you ask yourself, how do they know? Okay, this is where the Internet of Behavior comes in, right? The algorithms, like big companies, right? They use, right? They can redefine the company's value chain and streamline the user experience. This is another trend that a lot of businesses should think about when later you want to start again, right? Or whatever that you have now, you want to streamline it. You have to use Internet behavior. You have to talk about data. Data is a big thing now, right? Everybody needs data, and with data, you can actually use it to your advantage. Yeah. Now, autonomous things is another trend that a lot of companies are looking into. Now, autonomous things are devices that require no human interaction, as they are using AI algorithms to function. Right? If you've gone to what do you call it, to mama stalls or restaurants, okay, you can actually see that robot, right, serving you, right, from the kitchen. Someone puts your dishes on the robot, and the robot will come to your table. Okay. Now, autonomous things, right, is an idea where you need to have an innovative design process, right? You need to understand that from that kitchen to the table, it has to navigate among other tables to get your food there. So that is an innovative way. You can talk about designing the process, right, to manage food serving using these autonomous things, right? The pandemic, yeah, caused the market for these devices to boom, and research suggests that in the future, right, there will be a shift from automation to autonomy, right? We've seen cars that drive themselves now. Okay, so these are autonomous things. All right, you don't actually need to put your hands on the wheels, the steering wheels. You let the car do the driving for you. Okay, and the next trend businesses are looking at now is known as the innovation ecosystems. Okay, now many companies, right, are interested in adopting a holistic, multifaceted method because they want to boost their flexibility, become more agile, and drive growth. Right? This means they'll use different frameworks, yeah, to cover the full potential of innovation, and this can be called an innovation ecosystem. So they would have a ecosystem where, right, within their own category, within their own businesses, yeah, they are um, flexible in a way that they will use different frameworks, right, to handle one area of their business, another framework to handle one area of their business, another framework to handle, right? So this is what it means by using different frameworks to cover the full potential of innovation, right? And this can be called an innovation ecosystem, right? Now, again, when we come back and look at how we have faced or how we went through the pandemic, um, design innovation management or design innovation uh, really helps, yeah, to assist you in maximizing the potential of your businesses or organization. Because if you look at um, the processes when it comes into applying innovation and creativity into management, right? There is this would be an area where everyone would have their own task, yeah, right, to find out the best solution. Okay. Now, when we go through design innovation management, we'll go through the design thinking process. Right. That design thinking process requires you to go through the 5 phases of design thinking, which is actually the first one with empathy, finding out what your users really want, right? And then you can analyze or you define it. Okay, you analyze the information that you have collected. Okay, then you ideate is the third phase, right? Then you come up with ideas, you prototype those ideas, and then you test those ideas. Okay, so this innovative way of thinking, right, can actually help you to find out really what your users want. Okay, it's not just about what you want anymore now, it's about what your users want. Your users needs, again, right, like I mentioned, right, changes, and it will change, you know, in the future. It will continuously change, right? So in a way, you should be prepared, okay, in order for you to um, what do you call it, in order for you to meet the challenges faced or given by your users. Right? Now, these are some of the few tips. Yeah, if you are, coming back from the pain of the pandemic, yeah, the pain of COVID. All right. Again, when we talk about tips, giving you tips, We are not talking about something that is a sure thing, right? It's a guaranteed thing, right? But it's also based on what we have looked at, the data we've looked at, and then based on research that we've done, and then from various business councils and things like that. So we have compressed it, or we have, made it into something simple. Not a lot of things to talk about. There are a few points here, right, that we can actually look at when we want to start again. Whatever that we want to start again, small businesses of things like that. So here's what, right, you can do to help grow your capacity to innovate and use it to drive your business forward. Okay, the first one, start small, right? I understand that, it is at this particular time that you are gathering the amount that you need, right? You've got to start off a business, okay? If that's the best thing that you can do, that option is only there for you, right? I know funds are not a lot at this particular time. Whatever funds that you have now, right, should be invested or used, right, intelligently, right? So if you want to start something, start small, okay? Try focusing your efforts on small incremental changes that have the potential to improve your existing products, services, or business processes. Okay, using design innovation, right? Using design innovation processes, right? You can make those changes incremental. Say, for example, you start out with something small first, right? Look at how it develops over time, okay? And then if you feel, right, that you can move on to the next stage, move on to the next stage. Try not to think about doing everything at the same time, okay? Try focusing your innovative ideas, your innovative processes, design processes, right, into making small changes over time, right? So start small, right? Incremental changes, right? The next one is think differently, right? This is a good idea. That's why when you talk about design innovation, right? Design innovation management, right? This is where you think differently, right? Gather insights from your customers, suppliers, and industry expert, right? And find an approach, that will set you apart and give you a unique value proposition, right? There are so many things. No, there's so many businesses, right, that actually produces the same thing. Okay, if you look at areas, and based on my own experience, right, when you go to a place where you want to eat, right, a restaurant or cafe, or food carts or whatever it is, I tend to realize that in one area maybe there are three or four kiosks selling the same thing, right? I'm not saying that you can't do that, but if you want to do that, you have to think differently, right? You have to ask your customers, get insight from your customers, suppliers, industry experts, and find an approach that will set you apart. Okay, you're selling the same thing. There must be something that you can do, right? When you come up with your design thinking process, when you ask about empathy, right? The first design thinking process, which is empathy, gather insights from your customers. Okay, ask them what they really want. Right? Sometimes you'd be surprised. Okay, whenever they respond back, the feedback that they give to you might surprise you. So think differently. Right? Now, the next one is know your market, right? Market research and analysis are critical to innovation success. You have to do your research, okay? Listen to your audience. Listen to the people that buy your products, that use your products. Size up the competition and continuously look for gaps in the market, okay? If there is something that everybody's been doing, right? Uh, think differently, and then maybe you can fill in the gap, right? But you have to know your market first. You cannot just jump in and okay, this is what I'm going to do without doing any market research. Okay, so market research and analysis critical to innovation success. right? The next one is take the initiative. While it may not always be possible to divert resources to full-time research and development, understandably, your funds are not that big, right? Investing in R&D and technology can boost your capacity to innovate. Um, I'm not talking about investing millions, right? There are times when you invest a small amount of funding to whatever you're doing, right? It really can help, right? So you have to take the initiative. You have to take the first step, right? To at least have some sort of R&D, okay, research and development areas that you need, so that you will know using your technology. Okay, then create the right environment. Okay, it's important, right, to create the time and the space to allow yourself to think creatively and mull over new ideas. Okay, take yourself to a corner, think about new ideas, don't get distracted, think about how you can put in innovative ideas into whatever that you want to do. Okay, and never get discouraged, right? Now research suggests that you need at least 50 ideas to get 10 potential projects, of which only two will actually be successful. So don't get disheartened. Work and work, because that is what you need to do in order for you to move forward, right? So innovation will really put in that bit of additional help for you to move forward. Okay. Now, design innovation management, right, will enhance managerial skills, right, and develop interdisciplinary knowledge relevant to contemporary design management issues. Okay, and the interdisciplinary blend of design, innovation, and management enhances effectiveness as a practitioner. Okay, so thank you, right, for listening, and thank you for joining us on the webinar on the topic of design innovation management. Thank you so much, and back to Jace. Right.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Idron. It's
Right.
really a fruitful meeting. I really also for myself I learned a lot through your section. It's also very
Right.
encouraging sections. Okay,
Okay.
so ladies and gentlemen, now is the Q&A session. I believe you all must have lots of questions to ask. Please feel free to drop your question at the comment area, and then Mr. Idron will be answering you one by one. Yeah. So, Mr. Izwan, so we actually have the
Hi.
first question.
Okay, we
Yeah.
have Farha, right?
Yeah.
Farha Osman,
So,
right? May I know
yeah.
in what areas of business can we apply this design innovative management? Okay. Hi, Farha. Okay, to answer your question, right? When we talk about the design innovative management, right? It can be applied in so many areas. The reason why I say that it can be applied in so many areas of business is the fact that we are not looking at specific areas of business. Okay. Now, for example, if you are doing right, it's bad actually for me to assume. Okay, we're looking at the fashion business nowadays, right? A lot of people are actually going online, right? They are going online, and then they are selling products through online, and they don't actually have a physical shop or things like that. But whether you are doing it online, all right, or you're doing it physically, you need to have a process. Okay, you need to find out. Okay, um, like I mentioned earlier, what your users actually want. Okay, this is done through questionnaires. This is done through interviews. Even you can talk to them. Talk to your regular customers. All right, and then you can call them out, go to a cafe and have a drink and say, hey, actually, what do you actually want from whatever that you're buying from me, this product? Okay, they will tell you things that you might not know, because problem is a lot of people assume things. They think that, oh, I think my user wants this, I think my user needs this, but actually that is wrong. You think it's because you want it, right? Now you have to put it yourself in your user's shoe. Okay, so you have to find out about what type of product they like, what type of material, what type of quality that they need. So if you're talking about areas of business, right, there is a lot of areas of business that you can actually use this design innovative management, right? Because there are steps that can be applied in general. Okay, right? I hope I've answered, Miss Farha's question in what areas of business. All right, Jace. Okay, Ziman, how far can an innovative manager grow as a career? Okay, um, when you know the basic knowledge, right? When you know how to use the tools, okay? Now, when you know how to use the tools that come out with the, what do you call it? With the process, right? The design innovation process, right? You know all the skills, you have all the knowledge, right? You can grow, and like I'm answering the first question that I had, in what areas of business. It gives you that skill, yeah, in design innovation management, gives you the flexibility, right, to come into any organization, right, across a lot of industries, across a lot of fields, because whatever is needed from you, right, is the skill to come up with an innovative process, to manage the innovative process. It can be applied into business of the factories. It can be applied into offices. It can be applied into sports, right? So, an innovative manager can grow, it's like, you can grow as big as you want, right? Within all these fields that you are going to go in with these skills, yeah? Okay, Ziman, right?
We have one more questions
Okay,
to
Miss Echo Chen, what are the required skills, okay, needed to be a design innovation manager, right? For this one, I need to look at some of things, because I cannot just remember off, what do you call it, off my head. But from what I understand, yeah, okay, from what I've been passing it over through, even to my the people who I train, because I also talk about design thinking and corporate training, right? Sometimes we talk about the skills. We need the skills to be strategic sighted. That means what happens is that we need to think ahead, right? These are the skills that a lot of us are lacking at this particular moment, right? We have to think ahead, and then we have to cross industry experience. So it means don't stick yourself to one industry only. Try to understand other industries as well, in order for you to gain better insights, all right? And this one is something that everybody needs to start doing now. You have to be fast and furious. Okay, you cannot be slow, you cannot wait, right? You have to go and be fast and furious. You have to be optimistic, right? You have to have that optimistic skill in you, and then you have to be curious. You have to have this thinking mind, that you want to find out what's going on. You need to find information. I need to find a solution. You have to be curious, and then you have to be willing to change, right? You need to change. If you want to still stay in the old ways that you have been using, or that you are so used to, it's not going to work. This is the new normal. All right? The new normal needs you to change. You have to be willing to change, right? And then, of course, when you do something, you are bound to sometimes face failures. Okay? That failure is not an indication that you are not good, right? That failure is an indication that, all right, you have to try again. You have to stand up, move ahead, right? Whatever that has failed, leave it behind. You have to look forward, and then you have to be project oriented, right? Don't sit down and think about what am I going to, I don't think I want to do anything. You've got to really be project oriented. Find something to do. Okay, and lastly, right, this one should be business minded lah. Okay, after you've learned all these design innovation management processes, and then you don't apply the skill, there's no point also. All right, so you have to be, at the end of the day, it is all about, moving ahead, creating businesses and creating opportunities for yourself. Yeah. Okay, Echo. Right.
yeah, thank you, Mr. Izwan. It's really
No
a
problem.
very
Yeah.
insightful, yeah, sharing. And yeah, I think that is is there any other questions that you can just drop at the comments, okay? Or you can always come to our website, okay? And thank you for attending to these sections. So we are going to have another section tomorrow, which is talking about AI in the process of technology specifications at 11 a.m. As well as another section will be on towards data science at 2:30 tomorrow. So just stay tuned and remember to follow us in our Facebook. And also we are having our open day tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can always come to visit us, okay, physically in our office at APU at TPM, Bukit Jalil, or come to our website to make an appointment to have a virtual open day with us. Okay, we can always be there. So thank you in advance, and yeah, have a great evening today. So thanks, Mr. Izon as well for your sharing. It's
Thank
really
you for having
encouraging
me.
the people. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you everyone.
All
So
right,
yeah,
thank
we
you.
shall end the section today and having a great evening.
All right, thank you. Have a good weekend,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.